What's up, guys? It's Toad back with you for Wednesday, May 28th. Yesterday, really bad day on the show. I apologize. 0-4. I mean, a couple of the plays were close to getting there. I think maybe I don't know if I really had any of them that wrong, to be honest. I mean, the WNBA game, Minnesota was out to a double-digit lead. They were just dominating. I think they were up 27-11 at the end of the first quarter, although we know the WNBA is a game of quarters, so they had a couple of quarters that did not go as well. Looked like they were still going to cover as those WNBA games, when they come down the stretch, if your team has the lead, a lot of times they wind up covering on the intentional fouls and whatever. That did not happen. They won the game by 5, and they did not cover the 6.5, where I guess the 7 is where the game went off, somewhere in the 7 vicinity. Don't really even think it was the wrong call there. I just think it was just kind of a tough luck loser there. San Francisco Giants could not hit at all, so they didn't get there. So Logan Webb pitched well, but Jack Flaherty pitched actually probably even better than Webb did. So very unfortunate there. Probably the under was the better way to look at that game, unfortunately. I thought San Francisco did have the upper hand there. Braves didn't even score in the game as well, so just bad offensive performances from both teams. Suarez did better than I thought he would. Maybe I shouldn't have played either one of those. Just I liked the situation for Atlanta. They were in that game pretty much the whole time. I think the number of hits was even in that game. It was just a very low-scoring game. They couldn't get it done. Strider was not bad, but like very inefficient with his pitches, so he didn't even get through 5 innings. And then Pittsburgh, Arizona, the under, it was looking like it was going to happen. It was 1-1 into the bottom of the 4th, and then Burrows, I think, started tiring, and Arizona put up a 5 spot on him in the bottom of the 4th inning, I think, and that was that. That was it. One bad inning, and that was that. Like, if you had told me that in the first 5 innings there were only going to be, I think 2 innings with any runs scored, I would have been like, well, okay, or 2 half innings, I should say. Or maybe it was 3, but whatever. If you had told me it was 1-1 into the bottom of the 4th, I would have been like, all right, sweet. We're going to get that one. All right. So very unfortunate, because now if we keep tracking this, again, I'll clarify, I'm not actually making these bets right now. I am giving out the picks as if I were betting them, though. So tracking this as if I was still betting, I would be slightly down on the year again after I was slightly up going into yesterday. And 0-4 is just brutal, man. Let's get into it. We got T-Wolves Thunder. Thunder up 3-1. Going back to OKC here. The Thunder are an 8-point favorite, which is basically around where the line was in the first 2 games. It was basically 7.5. We have 53% of tickets coming in on the Thunder. It seems like the public's slightly back on the Thunder train, and I mean, why not? They won both games at home pretty easily. They're up 3-1 in the series. They just won the most recent game, but 70% of the cash coming back in on the T-Wolves, and the total down from 222 to 220.5. 75% of tickets and 52% of the cash on the over. So the market read is saying T-Wolves plus the points and under, even though in some ways I think the Thunder are actually kind of correlated to the under a little bit, just because if you think that the under is going to be the way this is going to go, that means the Thunder are going to improve defensively, because they've had a couple of games where they didn't play very well defensively, and I think that included the last game, which was very high scoring, even though the Thunder did win. But it could be argued that both teams will play better defensively, because these are both good defensive teams. When you get down to some of these key games of the series, yeah, maybe you will see like more intense defense, so an under might make sense here. I don't want to play this game. I don't want to recommend a play on the game. As far as the side is concerned, yeah, I mean, the T-Wolves are completely on the ropes, right? They're facing elimination, and they're getting a ton of points. So in a way, it makes sense, because you almost know you're going to get a motivated effort here. I don't think the T-Wolves are going to just, oh, we're down 3-1, let's roll over and die. I don't think that's really their style. I don't think they're going to do that. So I do think that maybe taking the T-Wolves plus the points is worth considering, as they actually played better in Game 1 than the final score looked, even though I know I gave out the Thunder in Game 1 on the show, and it was a winner, but the T-Wolves were winning that game into the second half. T-Wolves have been more competitive than it looks, really, and they are a very competitive team, so I think they could still do this. If you look at the box score in the previous game, it was a very close game. The T-Wolves actually had a higher shooting percentage than the Thunder. They had a higher three-point shooting percentage, more three-pointers made, more rebounds, more free throws made. and yet they lost the game, and it was entirely because they lost the turnover battle. So the Thunder had way more field goal attempts, and they made more field goals. So the T-Wolves do have to clean up the turnover issue, and usually you'll see the home team win the turnover battle, so it's not great that the T-Wolves are going back to OKC here, but they had so many turnovers in the last game, 20-something. They might clean that up a little bit. And the other reason to maybe like the T-Wolves here is that the T-Wolves only lost by 2 despite like basically all of their best players not playing well in that game. Like Anthony Edwards only had like 15, 16 points in the game. Randall was almost a complete no-show. So the T-Wolves did all that without getting a lot from their starters. So they do have depth. Both of these teams do have depth, which if you get better games out of the T-Wolves starters, maybe you'll see them play a better game here. And as far as like the props are concerned, zigzagging the props does make sense as well. So like Anthony Edwards going over may make sense in this game because he is coming off a bad performance. You know, he is the key guy for the T-Wolves. So if they're going to show up and put in a motivated effort, you're probably going to get a much better showing out of him this time than you got in the last game, stuff like that. I don't know if I would trust Randall because he's had 2 really ugly games in the series, but he's kind of zigzagged through the series, I think. So I think games 2 and 4 were his terrible games. So he might actually show up again and play a good game for once. We'll see. It all remains to be seen, but that's kind of the analysis there. NHL, I am actually going to recommend to play on Florida to close this out. I mean, they've been the better team in the series. The money is coming in Florida here. They are a favorite, though, so you do have to worry about the fact that they're a road favorite here, whereas in the first couple of games, Carolina was a home favorite. So, yeah, I mean, line value-wise, it doesn't look like you're getting much value here, but I just think it's the right spot to play Florida here. I think historically, teams that are up 3-0, they drop one game, and then they finish off the series. Florida up from minus 110 to minus 124 here. 74% of tickets, 81% of the cash coming in Florida. I agree with it, even though, yes, it's very tough to fade Carolina at home. They've been very good at home throughout the season, but they're 0-2 at home in the series. I did mention, because I liked Carolina in Game 2 and Game 3, because I thought the final scores were a little bit misleading, but Florida has just had the upper hand in the series, man. Carolina just doesn't look like they're ready for it. And Carolina had lost 15 straight Eastern Conference Finals games until they finally just won one, which is ridiculous. So they had lost 15 in a row, and I believe I saw a ridiculous kind of tidbit where the last time Carolina won a game in this round of the playoffs, Brindamore, who is their coach now, was a player for them. It was like 21 years ago or something like that. But now they did get that monkey off their back, so they did finally get a win. So that is one thing that Carolina doesn't really have to think about that anymore. Oh, we haven't won a game in this round for 21 years or whatever. Yeah, they finally won a game, so maybe that'll give them a little bit of confidence, a little bit of momentum, but I think it'll give Florida a lot of motivation as well because Florida dropped that game, and that was a misleading final score, man. It was 3-0, but there were 2 empty net goals right at the end, so it was really a close game. Excuse me. And Carolina did have more shots in the game, and they did outface off Florida, but Florida was actually the more physical team in the game, so if that physicality shows up again, Florida's been the better team throughout the entire series, man. And yeah, Anderson finally had a pretty decent game again, but Florida did not really put a lot of shots on goal this time. If they put more shots on goal, I think you're going to see him struggle again. It's Anderson. He was really good throughout the playoffs, but in this series, he has actually been really, really bad. So we could see him return to that not playing as well here. So I like it for Florida, man. I mean, it was a misleading final result in this last game. I think they're in a spot where they're going to bounce back. Any team that just got shut out, you're going to see them come out with fire in the next game. I think they're going to adjust some things, fix what they were not doing well offensively in this game. I think Florida takes care of it. I think they win the series here. So yeah, I would play Florida in that game, even though I know the line value doesn't seem like it's there. The odds makers have adjusted the line for a reason. There is a reason why Florida is the road favorite there. And Florida, of course, I mean, they have the experience. Once you've kind of like poked the bear, which I know we're not talking about the Bruins here, but once they've been poked a little bit, I think you're going to see them come out with fire and be a little bit more angry here and finish the series off. They don't want to have to go back to Carolina and then potentially risk having to go to a Game 7. So That's what we got going on there. WNBA, I lean to Indiana in this game, Indiana at Washington. I don't think I quite want to do this, though. So there are reasons to play Indiana, and there are reasons to stay off the game. The money has come in on Indiana. They're up from 2.5 to 3.5 with juice now. So if you like Indiana, probably got to get on that sooner than later, because I think the line is going to continue to go up. Looks like it is right now. At least maybe you could play the money line on it. Now, two things about the Indiana situation. Number one is that they had a big lead against the returning champs, New York Liberty, in their last game. So that was a big game for Indiana. They had a double-digit lead in the third quarter. They blew the entire lead, and they lost the game. So they're coming off a really tough game. So it is kind of a hangover spot for Indiana. So I don't love that. But what might motivate them here is Caitlin Clark got injured. So even though this is a hangover spot for Indiana, which is a huge negative, it is an injured player theory spot, right? Always talk about this in various sports. When you have a star player go down, the team usually adjusts for that, and they play really hard in that first game without that player because they know they have to pick up the slack. Like, oh, this player is out. We have to play extra hard. So I think Indiana might come out with a lot of effort in this game because Clark went down, but the hesitation that I have, I like the injured player spot, but the hesitation I have is they are coming off that huge game against the Liberty where they had that game won basically and completely imploded, and maybe part of it was because Clark went down in the game. So I don't quite want to do it, but I would still lean to Indiana. I think the injured player spot is what's going to give Indiana the focus they need in this game that they probably would have lacked otherwise coming into this game, which would otherwise be a hangover spot. I don't quite want to recommend a play on it, though, but lean to Indiana. We'll go to Major League Baseball. I'm going to give out two sides, both underdogs, actually. And one, you're going to be like, yeah, you're off your rock or Toad, but we're going to go with it. And I am going to give out two totals as well, one a first five total. Let's get into it, man. White Sox, Mets. The Mets are looking like they're about to sweep the series, I believe, right? So the Mets have won the last two games. They're on a nice roll. They've won 4 games in a row. But they might just not take the White Sox totally seriously here after beating the White Sox twice. They'd only have Colorado up next, though, which is not a big series, so it's not really a look-ahead spot for the Mets here. The starting pitching matchup actually isn't that bad for the White Sox with Shane Smith, who's their best pitcher, really. 2.36 ERA, 1.11 whip. He's gone under the radar, but he is pitching well. Hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any start. 23-6 strikeout walk ratio and 2.57 ERA in May. However, his team has lost every start of his this entire season except for one start. I mean, that's the way it goes when you're a good pitcher on a bad team, man. That's Garrett Crochet when he was on the White Sox. It's basically Garrett Crochet on the Red Sox. It's ridiculous. It's to some extent Skeens, who I'm going to talk about in a minute because he's pitching today on Pittsburgh. But Shane Smith, I mean, he deserves better than this, man. He's been a good pitcher this year, his rookie season. And, I like him a little bit more just because he's from Danvers, Mass, kid. So he's a homeboy here. So he deserves better than being on this shitty White Sox team that gives him no run support. So that is something to worry about. But the Mets, of course, have never seen him before. And when a pitcher has never been seen before by the opposing hitters, they usually have a little bit of an extra edge if they're a good pitcher. And Smith is. Griffin Canning for the Mets. I mean, I still don't trust him. I don't trust that the Mets have, all of a sudden fixed this guy. I mean, he's coming off a really bad start against the Dodgers, although granted, yes, the Dodgers are one of the best teams, one of the best offenses, but it was a bad start for him. He only went 2 2/3, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, 1 strikeout. I still don't trust Canning. I mean, his 2.88 ERA is good, but 1.32 whip, not good. He's putting way too many men on base, but he is facing a very weak White Sox lineup. Held him to a 212 average and 560 OPS, so Canning may bounce back here against a really bad offense. So probably the way to actually look at this game is, I guess, probably towards an under. I don't really quite want to do it because I don't trust Canning at all, but the money looks like it's agreeing with that. 62% of the tickets and 96% of the cash on the under. It would be an under 8, maybe with a little bit of juice there. David, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. So that's probably the way I would lean in that game. And I do hate it when I give out leans and then the leans wind up winning and the plays that I give out don't win. I hate that. Dodgers are facing Cleveland here. Cleveland is on the verge of getting swept, so they might come out with a little bit of extra motivation here. And I believe I told you on the show yesterday, I thought yesterday was kind of an over-conducive game because Bibby actually had really bad numbers against the Dodgers. I did not trust May, really. Neither pitcher did that well. Both bullpens kind of gave up something as well. Really, well, wait a minute. What? I'm looking at earned runs here because the screen is shrunk, but I think there were some unearned runs that came across for Cleveland there. What do we do in this game? Well, again, the Dodgers are on the verge of a sweep here, so they might not take Cleveland totally seriously in the last game. They might take their foot off the gas a little bit, and they have a big series, the World Series rematch against the Yankees coming up, which I will talk about when I talk about the Yankees in a second. So it is possible the Dodgers don't pay attention to this last game against Cleveland because that is a big series. It's probably going to be bigger for the Yankees, though, because it's revenge for the Yankees, but that is still a huge series. It's a potential World Series preview as well as a World Series rematch. Clayton Kershaw is on the mound for the Dodgers, and trying to figure this guy out right now is very difficult to do. So I think if you're going to bet this game, you're crazy because Kershaw, we don't know what we're going to get out of him. We don't even know who's starting for Cleveland in this game. So, I mean, you're really you could set your money on fire if you want, but if you're like a literal gambler and you want to put some money on this, go ahead. But I don't even know what I would recommend in this game. Kershaw had a bad first start to the season. He's trying to come back from injury. My opinion is I don't think that he's quite done yet. I mean, he's not that old yet, and he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's an excellent pitcher. So these pitchers, when they get a little bit older to this range, a lot of times you'll see them kind of figure it out and figure out how to pitch with like a little bit less velocity and just use their pitching intelligence to actually do well. He pitched better in his next game against a pretty good Mets lineup. 2 shutout innings where he didn't allow a hit. For some reason, he came out of the game, though. I don't know if there was a rain delay or what really happened in that game. I think I mentioned that on the show not that long ago, so I don't know what happened in that game, but he's not hurt because he's pitching today. Of course, he does have good numbers in his history against Cleveland. They're only 4 for 39 off him with 11 strikeouts and 1 walk. And Ramirez does have a home run off him, but a 103 average, 304 OPS overall. So, yeah, Kershaw, his historical stats are basically good against every single lineup, but is the current version of Kershaw going to be that effective? I don't know. It's very, very difficult to say, man. The Dodgers are a pretty big favorite here, though. They're a road favorite here because you are paying a Dodger tax and you're paying a Kershaw tax here. So probably you're paying too much if you like the Dodgers. They are up, though, from -132 to -146. 76% of the tickets, 87% of the cash coming in on them. So do with that information what you will. It does look like the money is actually coming in on the Dodgers side. I am not sure that I would really agree with that, but we don't know who Cleveland is even pitching in the game, so it's very difficult to say. But I think that line value-wise, you are paying too much for basically a mystery Clayton Kershaw right now. You don't know what you're going to get out of him, so we will see. San Francisco, unfortunately, lost for me yesterday. We actually have another interesting pitching matchup here with San Francisco and Detroit. Landon Raup is pitching for San Francisco. He's been pretty decent, 3.63 ERA, although his 1.4 whip indicates there's something a little bit wrong. I mean, he has been too wild for the most part. 18 walks, actually 55 hits allowed in 52 innings as well, so not great. His strikeout rate is okay, 49 in 52 innings, but he does walk too many guys. He's given up too many hits, so he's got to kind of adjust, but he has actually held opponent run totals down all year. Like, he hasn't allowed more than 4 earned runs in any start this entire season. And in the month of May, he hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any start. He's gone 6 innings shutouts in each of the last 2. But it was against the A's and Washington, so take from that what you will. He does have a 1.64 ERA this month at a 14-4 strikeout walk ratio and fewer than 1 hit per inning. So he is in pretty decent form right now, even though a 2-2 strikeout walk ratio in the last game doesn't totally inspire confidence in me, but he's not a huge strikeout pitcher. He throws like some really extreme breaking stuff. It tries to get people to hit into outs. He has a pretty high ground ball rate, which is pretty good. And against the Tigers, they've actually seen him a little bit, but they're 0 for 6 off him with 2 strikeouts. So Raup may do okay here. I mean, these young guys, when the hitters don't really have a lot of experience facing them, they could do pretty well as well. Jackson Jobe, on the other hand, I think he's actually not as good as Raup. I think he's been getting away with it. I mean, he was the last pitcher this season to be a pitcher whose team had not lost a single game they'd started until his last start. Detroit finally lost a start that he made, but he was getting a lot of run support, man. He has a 4.06 ERA, 1.42 whip. I mean, that whip is too high. It's higher than Raupp's is. And this month, he has a 4.87 ERA and 17 to 10 strikeout walk ratio, so that's not good. He's walked at least 2 guys in 3 straight outings. Not great for Job. And the fact that they finally lost a game behind him, that streak ended, that's the type of thing that may actually kind of linger a little bit into the next start. So I don't know if I trust Job, even though San Francisco has never seen him before. So Job may have a little bit of an extra edge just because he's facing a lineup that's never seen him before. But I don't know that I would trust that aspect of it. Detroit, they are very good at home for sure, but they are getting a lot of the public action here with 75% of tickets and only 70% of the casual. They're up from minus 106 to minus 112. You're getting San Francisco as an underdog this time rather than a favorite like you were yesterday. So there might be a little bit of value looking towards San Francisco. I do think Raupp might have the upper hand over Job in this game. And San Francisco does have a really good bullpen as well. It looks like the under is getting money as well as it's flipped from 8 juice to the over to 8 juice to the under. 53% of tickets and 67% of the cash on the under. I'm a little bit iffy on the under because I don't know if Job, I think there's a chance that he doesn't do that well in this game, although he has kind of kept opponent run totals down at the very least, so we will see what happens in that game. Boston, my Red Sox on the verge of getting swept by Milwaukee. So in a way, Milwaukee might kind of take them a little bit lightly because the Red Sox have just been total ass recently. And Milwaukee does have a pretty big series against Philadelphia next, which is a National League battle between 2 teams that might make the playoffs and did make the playoffs last year. So they might consider that to be a bigger game, but Brian Bayo is pitching for the Red Sox, and I don't think there's any way you could trust this guy. I mean, his 4.08 ERA doesn't look that bad, but a 1.7 whip is unbelievably bad. I mean, he's putting almost 2 men on base an inning. This month, he has a 4.44 ERA and 20 to 14 strikeout walk ratio, in addition to allowing way more than 1 hit per inning. He's been atrocious, man. His last start looks decent with a 7-1 strikeout walk ratio against Baltimore, but he didn't even go 5 innings. And by the way, he's gone 4 straight starts without even making it 5 innings. Bayo sucks, dude. I mean, they got this guy. Oh, this guy's going to be our next Pedro Martinez. He's going to be the next number 1 starter. Yeah, good luck with that. If he's pitching like this still when he's 26, he's never going to be good. So I'm sorry. He sucks. 27 to 20 strikeout walk ratio on the season, more than 1 hit per inning on the season. So this month has basically just been a microcosm of the whole season. He sucks. Against the Brewers, we don't have a whole lot of there's not a big sample size here. They're 4 for 17 off him. Haas does have a home run off him. 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, which isn't that great either. They're 235 off him lifetime, but 786 OPS. So the OPS is not that good. There's walks in there. There's a home run in there. There's a double in there from Yelich. So do with that what you will, but I don't think we're going to get a very good start out of Bayo. Freddie Peralta is obviously the better of the 2 pitchers here. 2.55 ERA, 1.12 whip. He is Milwaukee's ace. He's coming off a start where he didn't do that well against Pittsburgh. He only gave up 1 earned run, but he didn't make it 5 innings in the game. He walked 3 guys, but I think that's a little bit less like him. He is a little bit wild, but he usually does rack up more strikeouts. He does have a 19 to 9 strikeout walk ratio this month, fewer than 1 hit per inning, a 2.61 ERA. So I would trust Peralta way more than I would trust Bayo, obviously. 60 to 23 strikeout walk ratio on the season. He's got only 44 hits allowed in 60 innings. Peralta has been very hard to hit, and the Red Sox in a small 12-at-bat sample size haven't done well against him. Trevor Story has a home run off him, but Trevor Story not hitting well this year, to say the least. He's been awful, and I don't even know, is he even going to be in the starting lineup in this game? Who even knows? He does have a couple of walks off of Peralta as well, so personally I would probably put Story in the lineup just because he's the only guy that has done okay against Peralta, but we will see. Overall, in a small 12-at-bat sample size, the Red Sox have a 167 average and 702 OPS against Peralta, but I do not trust the Red Sox in this game by any stretch. Milwaukee's up from minus 138 to minus 143 here. 55% of tickets on them, but 72% of the cash coming back on the Red Sox. I don't know what to say about that. The money looks like it's on the side of the Red Sox. I'm not going to agree with that. I mean, I could see there being an argument for Milwaukee having the worst bullpen. I mean, their bullpen is really bad. The Red Sox bullpen isn't exactly good, though, so do with all that what you will, but Peralta should have the upper hand over Bayo, so maybe a first 5-inning play on Milwaukee would make sense. Next up, I'll give you one of my plays, and that is, or one of my recommended plays, under in Minnesota, Tampa Bay. I like this one, even though the percentages look like they're not agreeing with me here, with 62% of the tickets and only 51% of the cash on the under. I think we might see that flip, though, because we have seen the number flip from 8 juice to the over to 8 juice to the under. And I know I say in baseball that a move like that could have been one of those early, like, fake moves. And then if you see the percentages, it could mean the actual money wants to play the over. But I don't think that's the case here at all. Tampa is taking money as well, by the way. They flipped from plus 103 to minus 105. 82% of the cash on them, 68% of the tickets on Minnesota. So the public likes Minnesota because they've been fairly hot recently, although Tampa has been hot recently as well. So I don't know. The public just likes Minnesota a little bit more, but I like the under here. I think we have a nice starting pitching matchup here. We have two pretty decent bullpens, or both bullpens are in the top 1/3 of baseball, I would say. Probably like the top 10, really. So we got two pretty good bullpens, and I think we got two good starters with Pablo Lopez from Minnesota, 2.31 ERA, 0.97 whip. This month, 2.38 ERA and 28-5 strikeout walk ratio, well over one strikeout per inning, well fewer than one hit per inning this month. Lopez is in good form right now. He's allowed one or fewer earned runs in 3 of the 4 starts this month. Good stuff from Lopez. He's facing a not very great Tampa Bay lineup here. And against Lopez in 57 at-bats, he's got a 13-3 strikeout walk ratio. And he's held him to a 228 average and 565 OPS. So Lopez has been pretty good against Tampa's lineup. And on the other side, Rasmussen has actually been pitching better than I would have thought for Tampa Bay. He's been good this year with a 2.6 ERA and 1 whip. And he's been pretty good this month as well with a 2.53 ERA. Strikeout walk numbers, I mean, the strikeout rate just isn't very high, 13-5 and 21 1/3. He's not a huge strikeout guy, but that's okay. I mean, he's not really putting very many men on base at all. 17 hits this month in the 21 1/3 innings. 2 6-inning shutouts in a row against Toronto and Miami. I mean, teams that aren't great hitting teams, but Minnesota's not that great either. And Rasmussen, in his career against Minnesota, does have good numbers in 34 at-bats. Yeah, 4-3 strikeout walk ratio might be a little bit of a concern, but overall, 235 average and 591 OPS. So we're getting two pretty good bullpens here. I don't think they've been used that much in the series, and we're getting two good starters for this. So I like the under in this one. I think we might see that the actual money does wind up coming in on the under, because I really do not see any argument against it here. I like the under. I mean, the only argument that I could see maybe is that, well, the bullpens might like fall apart a little bit. All right, well, you know, if you want to take a first 5-inning under, I think that's okay as well. But I think the full game makes sense in that one. A's, Houston won easily yesterday, 11-1, which I think was actually the first game of the series. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention Pablo Lopez. I forgot the splits lineup in this one as well. Lopez has actually been better on the road this year with a 3.32 home ERA and 1.55 on the road. So you're getting Lopez on the road, which is good. And Rasmussen, even though I know this is a somewhat hitter-friendly park in a AAA stadium, Steinbrenner Stadium, at least it's not Oakland Stadium, at least, or Sacramento, whatever you want to call it. But Rasmussen has actually been better in this stadium slightly with a 2.5 home ERA, 2.81 on the road. So the splits line up nicely for that one as well. Now, A's, Houston, Severino against McCullers. Severino has not really been doing very well, although some of it is probably because he's pitching in that ridiculous stadium. So he actually has been way worse at home with a 6.2 ERA. That stadium just sucks, dude. And he has a 0.72 ERA on the road, so crazy. Severino has extreme home road splits here because that home stadium that the A's play in is ridiculous for hitting. And Severino's actually been really, really good on the road, which is where he is here. He's been good in his last 2 starts. One of them was on the road. One was actually at home. He gave up 2 runs total over 12 innings. there and struck out 10 and only walked 1. So last couple of starts, he's been in good form. For the entire month, he hasn't, but he kind of got just wrecked by the Yankees in that ridiculous A's stadium. So take from that what you will. Severino, I think, is in okay form right now. Against the Astros, though, he hasn't done that well in his career. 80 at-bats, 18-4 strikeout walk ratio is good. Yainer Diaz does hit him well, 3 for 7 with 2 home runs. Altuve is 11 for 37 with 1 home run. So if you want a hits plus runs plus RBIs prop, which is always what I recommend instead of total bases, because a walk can still help you out if you go hits plus runs plus RBIs. I would look to those two guys. Altuve and Diaz both hit him well. Overall, 275 average against and 747 OPS. So Severino, his numbers are okay against Houston, a little bit on the higher side. Lance McCullers for Houston, he's trying to come back from injury, and we do see him like kind of slightly improving. Well, he had one really bad start against Cincinnati, where he gave up 7 runs in a third of an inning, and the Astros fans were like wishing death upon him and his family, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, there's no call for that, especially with a guy who has seen like your team, through like at least one championship, I think. So McCullers deserves way more respect from the fan base than that. I know he's not pitching well right now. He's not that old, though. He's only 31, so I expect that he is going to come back and be better at some point and return to form. I mean, he's had a long layoff. He's been out with injury, with surgery. We do see he had 8 strikeouts and 4 1/3 in his last outing, so his strikeout stuff seems like it's coming back a little bit. So McCullers, I think he is gradually improving. So do we think he's going to do well in this game? I mean, obviously, that's what we have to try to figure out. I don't know. I mean, I think it's difficult to gauge. Against the A's, they only have 6 at-bats against them. They're 1 for 6. Andujar is the only hit against them, and also has a strikeout against them. Overall, McCullers held him to a 167 average, 333 OPS. You can do the math there. So what are we going to get out of those guys? I actually don't know. The line moved up on Houston from -126 to -147, but I think with the A's being really, really angry, probably after losing just embarrassingly yesterday, 11-1 or whatever, with Severino being way, way better on the road, it's possible that Oakland might be a way to look here, getting them at an underdog price, or the A's, the homeless team. 88% of tickets, only 78% of the cash on Houston. So Houston is public and getting less of the money coming in on them. So something to consider there. And it looks like less of the cash is also on the over, so the under maybe getting some traction, even though it looks like the line did move up a little bit from 8 to 8.5. So take from all that what you will. Next up, I'm going to give you a play on full game Pittsburgh as an underdog. I kind of like this play against Arizona to get this done, even though the money is coming in on Arizona, which I don't love at all. They're up from -118 to -131, but you're getting Paul Skeens as an underdog, man. So I actually like this. Again, I don't like that the market read is against it, but hopefully that kind of changes before this afternoon. I don't know if it will. I mean, why would Pittsburgh be a public side here? I mean, Arizona's the team that hits. Pittsburgh sucks. So, I mean, I guess the Skeens factor might have something to do with it. Like the public might see, oh, Skeens, let's jump on him. But I actually think there are reasons to do that here. 53% of tickets on Pittsburgh right now, 60% of the cash on Arizona. Worries me a little bit that it looks like the money is coming in Arizona. But Arizona, yeah, they lost yesterday as well, so they might be in kind of a bounce-back mode, be a little bit angry here. But I don't like Arizona's bullpen, for one thing. I mean, I don't like either bullpen, but Arizona, they used a couple of their arms. I mean, both teams used a couple of their better arms yesterday. So I think the bullpen situation actually is a little bit of a wash. If you like the starting pitching matchup only, I mean, a first 5-inning play on Pittsburgh probably makes sense too, but you might actually have to pay a favorite price for it. But the pitching matchup, I think, favors Skeens, man. 2.36 ERA in the season, 0.95 whip. I mean, I don't know if there's that whole lot to say really about Skeens. I mean, he's fucking Skeens. I mean, he was great last year as a rookie. He's been really, really good this year as well. This month, he has been walking a little bit too many guys, 31-14 strikeout walk ratio, only 21 hits allowed in 31 innings. Got to get those walk numbers down. He's only walked 3 over the last 2 starts, though, going 14 innings, only allowing 2 earned runs, 7 hits, and 17 strikeouts. So he was really good in those 2 starts. I mean, he's faced some really good offenses this month, and he still has a 2.32 ERA. Cubs, Mets, Philly, Milwaukee, Arizona is right in line with those offenses. But against Arizona, they only have 13 at-bats against him, so a very limited sample size. They haven't even seen that much of him. And he's held him to 231 average, 670 OPS. So I like Skeens. I think the unfamiliarity aspect might help as well. And in that small sample size, he's done well against Arizona. Zach Gallen is just really, really struggling right now. I mean, he's better than these numbers would tell you that he is, but I mean, the numbers are what they are right now. 5.25 ERA and 1.36 WHIP. Those are not good numbers, and he's been really, really struggling this month with a 28-14 strikeout walk ratio. So you want to talk about a guy walking too many guys. His walk rate is higher than Paul Skeens' is this month. In his last start, he had a 4.4 strikeout walk ratio. He's walked at least 2 guys in every start this month, 3 or more in 3 out of the 5. Gallen is not really getting it done. He hasn't gone 6 innings in any of the last 3 starts. His team has actually lost all 3 of those, and they've lost 5 of his last 7 starts. His team actually, in games that he started, they are actually only 4 and 8. Wait, is that right? Or 4 and 6? Am I doing the math right here? They're 4 and 6 over the course of the season in Gallen starts. And the other thing that is of note there, though, is the only team that is the only team in Arizona has beaten in Gallen starts going all the way back to April 13th. The only team that Arizona has won against with Gallen on the mound has been the Mets. They've lost every game to every other team, so it has not been very good for Gallen or for the D-backs with Gallen on the mound. Gallen, by the way, he's actually been way worse at home, too, with a 6.03 ERA at home and 4.07 on the road. It is a hitter-friendly park here, and he has not done well in this park this year with a 272 opponent batting average compared to a 172 road batting average. So his splits, home road splits, are ridiculous as well. He's been really, really bad at home. Paul Skeens with his splits, I think you're probably going to find they're about the same between home and road. He's actually been better on the road. Never mind. These are more significant than I thought. So Skeens has actually been better on the road. 3.6 ERA at home and 1.4 on the road. 169 opponent batting average on the road and 214 at home. So even though Skeens is good both ways, he's actually better on the road. So both splits line up nicely for this game as well. So I like it, man. Skeens is the pitcher that's in way better form right now. Oh, and the matchup numbers, by the way. Gallen, even though Pittsburgh's not a very good hitting team, his numbers against Pittsburgh are actually not very good. In 64 at-bats, 14-10 strikeout walk ratio is not good. 266 average is okay. 740 OPS getting a little bit high there. So I know I made some mistakes yesterday going with some teams where it wasn't like a really, really stark contrast between the 2 starters. And this one seems not quite as stark maybe because I wish Gallen was getting lit up a little bit more by Pittsburgh. But I think there is value on Pittsburgh in this game here. So that's the way that I'm going to look there. Even though, yes, Arizona is kind of in a bounce-back spot. If you want to go first 5 and just go with the starting pitching matchup, I think that's fine as well. Nate, what's up, man? The California homeless. Yeah, the A's should just start begging. That's true. Well, I think the plan is that the A's are going to wind up in Las Vegas, I assume, but they're in this weird transition period. They're becoming women, I believe. Miami and San Diego here. I don't know what to say about this game, really. San Diego has won 3 in a row. They are on the verge of a sweep over Miami here, so Miami might come out with a little bit of extra fire here, but San Diego not really a look-ahead spot with Pittsburgh up next. Not a very important series for them coming up next. Sandy Alcantara, the former ace for the Marlins, has been awful this season with an 8.04 ERA, 1.57 WHIP. Hasn't gotten better for him, really. Even though he did put up a 6-2 strikeout walk ratio last outing, 21-8 this month actually isn't really that bad for the strikeout walk ratio, but he's still been allowing way too many hits. 4 home runs this month, a 7.71 ERA this month. Hasn't really been turning it around. It's very unfortunate. He just has not been able to bounce back from injury and surgery. Very, very unfortunate because I like this guy. Against San Diego, his numbers are not good either. In 52 at-bats, 10-4 strikeout walk ratio. Diaz and Bogarts each have a home run off him, so player prop potential there. Machado also is 9 for 16 off him, or 9 for 6. Or what am I saying? 9 for 6. 6 for 9. I can't even do anything. It was 6 for 9 with 3 walks. My mind is just completely out of it right now. Machado is 6 for 9 off him with 3 walks, so player prop potential there. 308 average overall, 780 OPS. So Alcantara has not done well against San Diego, but for San Diego, Kyle Hart is re-entering the rotation, I guess, with a 6 ERA and 1.38 whip. I don't think Miami has ever even faced him before, but what are you going to get out of a guy that just is kind of, I mean, his career has just been almost nothing. He was on the Red Sox in 2020, which I don't remember whatsoever. He was horrific with the Red Sox. He's been horrific with the Padres years later. I mean, he's not a major league pitcher, man. So what do you want here? Well, even though it is a pitcher-friendly park in Petco, I think the way to look at that game is probably to the over. 75% of the tickets, 80% of the cash on the over. It's gone up from 8 juice to the over to 8.5 juice to the under, so a slight move upward. Looks like the money is coming in on the over. That would be the way that I would look at that game. St. Louis, Baltimore. Man, I don't know what to say about this. I mean, St. Louis probably not as good as they looked early in the season. Baltimore is probably about as bad as they look. Miles Mikolas, actually, his stats this season have actually become not terrible. Somehow, he's been pitching well recently. 3.51 ERA, 1.17 whip for St. Louis. This month, he has a 2.01 ERA, although only a 14-7 strikeout walk ratio, but he's not really a strikeout guy. He's allowed well fewer than 1 hit per inning this month, and his team has won his last 5 starts in a row. He hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any of those starts. He's allowed 1 or fewer in 4 of the 5. And if you go back to the start prior to that, which was another shutout start for him, his last 6 starts, he's allowed 0 or 1 earned run in 5 of those. So really, if you take out just his second start of the season against the Red Sox, he's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in every start. So Mikolas, I mean, he's kind of getting the job done, even though he's not really a strikeout guy. And against Baltimore, only 7 at-bats. Only 3 of their hitters have ever seen him before. They do have 1 walk and no strikeouts against him. A 286 average, or 2 for 7 off him. 661 OPS. Not a whole lot to take away from a very small sample size like that. I would say, because most of Baltimore's hitters haven't seen Mikolas before, he's pitching fairly well right now. I would actually say that probably he would be in line to do decently in this game. Baltimore has Cade Povich on the mound. He has not been doing well. He's a young guy, so he might start getting better. 4.86 ERA, 1.45 whip is not very good. Just walking too many guys. Although this month, 19-5 strikeout walk ratio is actually not really that bad. And fewer than 1 hit per inning allowed. So maybe he's starting to get a little bit better. His last 2 starts, he's allowed 2 and 1 earned run, which isn't too bad. So maybe Povich, maybe starting to find something, maybe turning around a little bit. And St. Louis has never seen him before, so he might have a little bit of an extra edge just because they haven't seen him before, and he's a lefty, so a lot of times it's a little bit more difficult to pick up the arm angle from a lefty that you haven't seen before. So this could be kind of a sneaky under here, man, where it looks like you have a battle between 2 pitchers that aren't very good, but they actually might be better than you think, and they actually might have decent matchups here against offenses that really aren't hitting the cover off the ball. So I would actually say an under might be the way to look in this game. It seems like the market does agree. It's gone down from 9 juice to the under, 8.5 juice to the under, 57% of tickets and 98% of the cash on the under. Probably that is the way that I would look in that game. Atlanta, Philadelphia. I mean, this is a big series, big matchup. We lost on my show yesterday on Atlanta. Unfortunately, the matchup here, we got Smith-Shawver going for Atlanta. I mean, he's been okay, but it's been kind of a mixed bag. He's still a really young guy at 22, so I do expect he's going to be pretty good for Atlanta. A 3.67 ERA this season is good, but a 1.42 whip. He's just walking way too many guys, man. This month, pretty much similar numbers to that. 3.18 ERA, but a 19-11 strikeout walk ratio, so he has to get those walks under control. He's allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning. He's coming off a really horrendous start against Washington, but he had shut out Washington for 6 innings the start before that. So I think he was at a disadvantage in the next start because Washington hadn't seen as much of him in the prior start. He did well, and then turning around, Washington facing him again right away after having just seen him. I think the hitters had a bigger advantage the next time out, so Washington did a lot better the next time out. So I think that's what we saw there. So maybe we give Smith-Shawver a little bit of a pass, because other than that, he's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in all of his starts. 0 or 1 in the previous 3 starts leading into that one. Granted, it wasn't against very good offenses. The Phillies, they will be the best offense that he's faced this season. He faced San Diego in his first start, didn't do very well there. They're a pretty good offense as well. So Shawver, I mean, he might not do as well against Philly, and in 11 at-bats, career-wise, 3 different Philly batters do have home runs off him. Castellanos, Marsh, and Turner all have home runs off him. He's allowed a 273 average to them, but a 1,424 OPS. Very high OPS because of all those home runs. So Smith-Shawver has not really done that well against Philadelphia. And if you want to take Atlanta, you're having to fade Zach Wheeler here. And is that really what you want to do when he's really still Philadelphia's ace, because he's been so good for so many years? 2.42 ERA, 0.88 whip. Very, very good whip. Very low whip. This month, he has a 0.68 ERA, 3 straight shutout performances, and a 31-5 strikeout walk ratio. I mean, he's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in 7 straight starts. Yeah, I mean, we know Wheeler is very good, but I mean, the numbers are just insane. His numbers are just really, really good this year overall. He's done well against the Braves in his career as well, in a huge 291 at-bat sample size. They still haven't gotten a handle on him, even though he has allowed 12 home runs to them, but 91-12 strikeout walk ratio, 206 average, and 632 OPS. So Wheeler has had their number. So I think Wheeler does have the upper hand in that matchup, but Philadelphia is going to be public here because people are kind of discounting the Braves a bit because their record is bad, but their record makes them look worse than they actually are. They're not as bad as their record would indicate. Philadelphia is definitely good, though. 88% of tickets on Philly, but only 65% of the cash. They're up from -147 to -151 here. So take from all that what you will. I don't think you're getting really any bargain on Philadelphia here, although Wheeler is the more trustworthy of the 2 pitchers with the better matchup numbers. So take from all that what you will. Cincinnati, Kansas City, I'm going to give out an under. I like the under here, but I think under first 5 is the way to go here, because Kansas City with Lynch going yesterday, you knew he was only going to give them like an opener. They used like 6 or 7 relief pitchers yesterday, so that's not good. So Kansas City's bullpen really has very few arms available coming into this game, so I don't love that, but I do really, really like the starting pitching matchup here. So I like this to be an under, but I think first 5 is the way to go. You can go under 3.5, which seems a little bit more dicey. I mean, if you can find a better number on under 4, go ahead and do that. The best I saw was -130, so you got to lay a little bit of juice to get it under the 4. But, I mean, every run in the first 5 inning plays, every run does count, does mean something. So I think it is kind of worth it to get that number up to 4. We will see. I mean, this is a game with a really low total of 7.5. So the odds makers, they are telling you they think this is going to be a pitching duel. I just don't trust Kansas City's bullpen, even though Kansas City's bullpen is probably in the upper half of bullpens, but because their bullpen has been completely used up, and because Cincinnati's bullpen, even though they're more rested coming into this game, they're well rested actually, but Cincinnati, their bullpen just isn't really that good, so I don't really want to have to deal with the bullpens here, but I love the starting pitching matchup. Hunter Green, I mean, you know I love this guy. I talk about him on the show all the time. He's a 2.54 ERA, 0.85 whip. He got injured 2 starts ago against Atlanta, which is why it was a shortened start when he was actually pitching really well in the game. He came back and he didn't have a great game against the Cubs, but I think we can give him a pass because it was his first game back from injury. They didn't want to overextend him. They let him go 83 pitches. He wasn't horrible in the game. He went 4 innings, allowed 2 earned runs. He got a little bit unlucky, probably gave up a home run. And it was against a very, very good Cubs lineup. So he's stepping down in class here, facing a much weaker Royals lineup here. So I like Hunter Green. I think he's going to basically be back into form in this game, would be my guess. He's a very good pitcher, and the Royals have basically never seen him before, except Khan is 1 for 5 off him with a double and a strikeout. So not a whole lot you can take away from that, other than the fact that not only is Green really, really good, but Kansas City's lineup isn't very good, and they haven't even seen Green very much. So I think Green has an advantage here over them. And then on the other side, Noah Cameron, got to get with the program here and get some numbers on this guy before people realize how good he is, because he has been really excellent so far in what I think is his rookie season here. 0.93 ERA, 0.67 whip, just ridiculous numbers. His first start was a 6 1/3 inning, one-hit shutout against Tampa, but I was a little bit concerned because he walked 5 guys in that game, but I think it may have been nerves or whatever. He was virtually unhittable in the game, and since then, he's gone at least 6 1/3 in his next 2 starts as well, allowing 1 earned run in each of them, both on a solo home run. So he's almost allowed nothing, and he's posted an 11-1 strikeout walk ratio in those 2 starts and allowed only 6 hits in the 13 innings, even though his team gave him absolutely no run support and lost both of those games. Every game that he's pitched has gone way under the totals. We had totals of 3, 1, and 4 in the games that he's pitched so far. So I think this is a very, very under-conducive matchup here. The Reds' offense isn't really that great either. Cameron, though, I mean, the point is he looks like he is definitely something. He's pitching well. He looks like he has good stuff. I mean, that 8 strikeouts that he posted in that last game, that's good. That tells you that he can basically blow away major league hitters. I mean, his numbers are excellent so far, except for the 5 walks in the first game. And obviously the Reds have never seen him before. So I think we get 2 really good young pitchers here against lineups that basically have never seen them before. So I think the pitchers have huge advantages in this game. So a first 5 inning under is the play there. I don't hate the full game under as well, but again, I would say that you're really having to deal with a pretty bad Kansas City bullpen situation there, so that worries me. Even though Kansas City's bullpen ERA is pretty good this year, most of those guys are probably unavailable today. Colorado at the Cubs. I mean, the Cubs are a massive, massive favorite here, but I'm wondering if maybe there's any value to be had on the Colorado side here, because the Cubs, they're looking at a sweep here. They probably won't take Colorado very seriously. And they got Cincinnati coming up next year, which is a divisional matchup at least. So they might kind of look past Colorado here, although yesterday Colorado did take them into extra innings. So both games have actually been fairly close. But Colorado, the fact that they've been competitive in the series might actually mean there is some value to be had here. Tanner Gordon is pitching for Colorado, and he's actually been one of their less bad pitchers in the 2 starts that he's made against good teams in Detroit and the Yankees. And he actually didn't really allow that much, even though he has a 4.38 ERA, 1.38 whip. That's not great, but he had a 9-3 strikeout walk ratio. He allowed 4 and 2 earned runs in 6 1/3 innings and 6 innings. A little bit over 1 hit per inning, but for Colorado, I mean, those are some fairly serviceable numbers, really. And the Cubs have never seen Gordon before, so it is possible that Gordon actually does okay in this game. Matthew Boyd, on the other hand, really has not been good recently. He's got a 3.42 ERA in the season, but a 1.32 whip is pretty bad. And last outing, he only went 4 innings against the Reds, allowed 8 hits, 4 earned runs, 3-2 strikeout walk ratio, and that was without allowing a home run. That's not good, and he allowed 4 home runs over the last 3 starts. He's not pitching as well right now, man, so I wouldn't say he's in the greatest form right now, even though he did go 6 innings in each of the last 3 starts prior to the Cincinnati one. With a couple against good teams in San Francisco and the Mets, but still, I don't really love this for Matthew Boyd, to be honest, and he actually has bad numbers against Colorado, though it's in a very small 12 at-bat sample size. Stallings is 1 for 1 off him, and Farmer is 4 for 7 off him. So do with that information what you will. But overall, they have a 4.17 average and 9.62 OPS off Boyd. I know it's a very small sample size, so you can't really put that much weight into that. But, I mean, there's no way that you can lay a price like this with the Cubs, man. I think that maybe if you're getting like a run line of like plus 2.5 on Colorado or something like that, it might actually maybe be worth just like taking a flyer on them to stay in this game. Cubs, remember, also don't have a very good bullpen, although, of course, Colorado's bullpen sucks. Their offense does suck on the road, so you're having to deal with all that. The other thing that is more conducive to an underdog covering a big number, though, is that this is a low total. Again, it's 7.5. So I think 2 games in a row, we're probably looking at cool, rainy weather with a low total in Wrigley Field. And it probably means the wind is blowing in again off of the lake. So that's what we had yesterday. The game went under in both games in the series so far, I think. So they're under conducive weather conditions right now in Wrigley Field. So that does actually mean that it might be a little bit easier for the underdog to cover a big number like that. Toronto and Texas. Now, ESPN lists Eric Lauer as the starter here, but I don't think he's actually the starter here. I think Paxton Schultz, I think pregame is actually more accurate. I think they keep their stuff more up to date. So I think Schultz is actually going to be the starting pitcher here for Toronto. Either way, I mean, I don't know what you can expect out of either of these guys, to be honest. Toronto lost 2-0 yesterday. Texas actually used a lot of their bullpen yesterday, though. So Texas's bullpen, even though they're a pretty good bullpen, they're pretty overworked in this series. So the Texas bullpen comes into this game not in great shape. I believe Schultz is going to be the pitcher here for the Blue Jays. And overall, he has a 2.53 ERA, 1.13 whip on the season, but he hasn't pitched very much at all. He's made a few short appearances this year. The numbers are good overall. More than one strikeout per inning, fewer than one hit per inning. He's allowed 2 home runs in a short stint of this season, or a few short stints, which is a little bit concerning. But overall, he's been fairly good. And Texas has never seen him before, so I don't know what we're going to get out of Schultz at all, man, because he's actually never pitched in the majors before this season, even though he's 27 years old. So I haven't looked into his scouting because I just decided this game is just way too much of a crapshoot for me to even figure this out. So I'm expecting Schultz to start, although if Eric Lauer is starting, his numbers are okay in the season with a 3.31 ERA, 1.1 whip. Either way, I don't think you're going to get a long outing from either of them. I think both of them are going to come in, pitch like maybe 3 innings or so, and then the Blue Jays will hand it over to their bullpen because their bullpen is pretty rested right now. So I think it is going to be effectively a bullpen game for the Blue Jays in this one. And Lauer against Texas, though, is not good. In 14 at-bats, 357 average, 786 OPS. Granted, a 5.0 strikeout walk ratio is pretty good, and some of their guys haven't seen him before, but I don't even know if it's going to be Lauer. You might actually see both Lauer and Schultz enter this game, though, because they've both been listed as the starters at various points in this game. And if the Blue Jays are going bullpen, you might actually see Schultz and then Lauer, or Lauer and then Schultz coming into this game. Either way, it's really tough to gauge what's going to happen with Toronto. I don't love bullpen games because they're too unpredictable. The Rangers, though, their bullpen is really burned out, so they're going to have to get a good start out of Mahle here. Mahle has a 1.8 ERA and 1.03 whip this season, so his numbers are really good. But again, I feel like this guy has just come from out of nowhere and posted numbers that are just well above his pay grade. And you can kind of see, I think he's starting to trail off a little bit, as he's only got exactly 5 innings in 2 of his last 4 starts. This month, 2.54 ERA is good, but a 17-8 strikeout walk ratio, a little bit of cause for concern, only because he just doesn't strike guys out. That's in 28 1/3 innings, but he's still allowed way fewer than 1 hit per inning, so he is still holding opponents off the board. Before his last start, though, he hadn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any of his outings all season, and in his last start, he walked 3 guys and gave up 3 runs to a pretty bad White Sox lineup, so he may be kind of coming out of form here a little bit, so that doesn't look like he's trending in the right direction to me. Although his numbers against Toronto are good, in 19 at-bats, 7 strikeouts to 1 walk. Vlad Guerrero Jr. does have a home run off him, but he's held him to a 158 average overall, Toronto's lineup, and 516 OPS, so Mahle's numbers are pretty good against Toronto. We'll see what happens with this, man. I mean, it's a very unpredictable game. So I don't know what we're going to get out of this game. It looks like the money is kind of all coming into Toronto, though. It's actually pretty heavy towards Toronto, with Texas down from -152 to -128. But that might have been because Lauer is no longer listed as a starter and Schultz is now listed as a starter. Maybe that had something to do with the line move. But the cash is also in line with where that line moved, with 68% of the tickets on Texas. Texas being a public team, especially because Mahle has good-looking numbers this year, but 82% of the cash coming in on Toronto, so the money is backing Toronto there. I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't really want anything to do with it. Andrew, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. All right, and then we got Yankees and Anaheim, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to recommend a play on Anaheim, man. I think it's worth a flyer. Take Anaheim as the home underdog in this game, +135. You get a nice juicy underdog price here. And you know you're paying a tax with the Yankees, but it also looks like the money is all coming in agreement with this, with the Yankees down from -157 to -152 here. 77% of tickets on the Yankees, with 66% of the cash coming back on the other side on Anaheim. So the cash looks like it's really backing Anaheim as the anti-public home underdog here, and I like it for various reasons. The Yankees are on the verge of a sweep. Yeah, I know they're on a real hot streak. They've won 8 of their last 9 games. They've won 4 in a row. We're going to step in front of the train here, though. How many of those games were 1-run wins? I think at least 4 of those were 1-run wins. So the Yankees, yes, they're playing well. Yes, they're one of the best teams in baseball, but they're also not totally blowing teams away. They'll have a game here and there where they absolutely annihilate a pitcher, but I don't think that's going to happen in this game. And again, I think they're going to be a little bit distracted here, man. They're kind of finishing up a road trip here. Or actually not finishing up a road trip, but finishing up a series here where they've already won the series. I don't know if they're going to take Anaheim totally seriously this time out, even though they did only win by 1 run yesterday. But as I pointed out a little while ago, after a day off tomorrow, they have a huge series coming up against the Dodgers, which is the World Series rematch. That's going to be a huge series for the Yankees, and they got their ace scheduled freed to pitch against the Dodgers in the first game of that series. So that's going to be a huge game for the Yankees. I think they might overlook Anaheim here, man. They've already beaten Anaheim multiple games in a row. They probably don't care as much about this game at this point. They're well on top of the AL East right now, so they don't really have to worry about that. This is, I think, a huge look-ahead spot in the World Series revenge spot. And it's going to be, I believe, at the scene of the crime as well, because I believe the series ended in LA last year, if I'm not mistaken, right? Even if it didn't, that is a huge revenge spot there. Revenge doesn't mean much in the major sports like this, but playoff revenge, especially World Series revenge, you're facing the team that beat you in the World Series. That is a huge, huge game. So I think it's a huge look-ahead spot, overlook spot. And the Yankees don't exactly have their best arm on the mound here with Clark Schmidt, 4.58 ERA, 1.34 whip. Very mediocre numbers at best. In his last outing, I know it was at Coors Field, so you can't take that much away from it, but it wasn't a great outing. Really, his last 2 outings weren't that good. And I know one of them was against the Mets team that hits pretty well, but he walked 5 guys against the Mets, and then he didn't even go 5 innings in Coors Field against the Rockies. Was very inefficient with his pitches, even though he did strike out 8 guys. The Rockies' offense, they do suck. But he gave up 3 runs in that game without allowing a home run. He gave up too many hits. So I don't think Schmidt is in the greatest of form right now in those last 2 outings. Not looking that great. He is walking too many guys. So I don't know, man. And up against Anaheim, his numbers are actually bad. I know it's a small sample size of 16, but Anaheim has done well against them. 7 for 16, 1 strikeout, 1 walk. That's not a great ratio either. Overall, a 438 average and 971 OPS. So Anaheim, I know it's a very small sample size, so you can't take that much away from it, but Schmidt has not done well against Anaheim. And if you look at his splits, Schmidt's splits, he's actually been way worse on the road this year than at home. He has a 3.18 home ERA with a 195 opponent batting average, and on the road, significant splits here with a 6.75 road ERA and 276 opponent batting average. So he's been way worse on the road so far. And this is also a night game, and he's actually been way worse at night too, with a 3-day ERA, the 158 opponent batting average, and at night, a still pretty good 241 opponent batting average of 4.88 ERA. So this is the worst of all Schmidt's splits are coming into this game. He's worse on the road and at night, and that's what we get here. Whereas Kikuchi, pitching for Anaheim here, he's having I don't know what to say about his season. A 3.17 ERA is good. A 1.49 whip is certainly not good. He's putting way too many men on base, and I know doesn't look good over his last couple outings. He's walked 8 guys and struck out 11. So I know that's not good, but he does also have a 1.91 ERA this month, and he's allowed no more than 200 runs in any start this month. So I'm thinking that maybe you got to give him a little bit of a pass for some of this wildness, even though overall he has been way too wild. So he really has to keep that under wraps. But he's been limiting the damage, but I know you can't rely on a guy to keep limiting the damage when a guy's putting a lot of guys on base. I understand that usually means they're going to start getting wrecked. I understand that. So I don't love Kikuchi's whip at all, but he actually has been fairly good against the Yankees in his career in a big 73 at-bat sample size. 26-12 strikeout walk ratio is not exactly good, but 10 of those walks are Judge and LeMahieu. So most of the other guys haven't done a whole lot against him. 247 average and 709 OPS. So Kikuchi actually has pretty good numbers against the Yankees in his career, and he has significant splits as well. Or this has been the case throughout Kikuchi's career. He's like always been better at home. Like, I think he's just uncomfortable on the road or something. He's way better at home with a 1.23 ERA at home and 4.3 on the road. So we're getting him at home here. So we get the better of the home road split with Kikuchi. And he's actually better at night. In the daytime, he's 3.96 ERA. He has a 3.96 ERA, 2.6 at night. So we're getting Kikuchi with the better of his splits, both home road and day-night, at least this season, even though I know it's a small sample size. And with Clark Schmidt, we're getting the worst of both of his splits, home road and day-night. So the splits and the situation, I think, all line up here in Anaheim. I know, shockingly, and yes, you're going to have to deal with Anaheim's very bad bullpen. I understand this. They have one of the worst bullpens in all of Major League Baseball, and the Yankees' bullpen is pretty good. So, yes, Anaheim has a bullpen disadvantage. Yes, Anaheim has a hitting disadvantage. That's being factored into the line, though, to some extent. I'm going to take Anaheim to get it done, and it's going to be full game just because Anaheim's bullpen is not that overworked right now. They didn't use much of their pen yesterday, and I think that just the spot, I think, is an overlooked spot for the Yankees. And when it's a scheduling spot like that, a situational spot like that, full game does kind of make sense. You're getting a pretty decent price full game on Anaheim, where I think this taking them just in the first 5 innings, you get a little bit less of a price, although you still get them as an underdog, I assume. All right, and then last game, Washington-Seattle. I mean, I don't know what we want here. Trevor Williams, he's not been pitching well at all. 6.39 ERA, 1.56 whip for Washington. He gave up 2 home runs, 3 walks, 5 earned runs against Atlanta's last outing, only 3 2/3. He's gone less than 5 innings in both of his last 2 starts, both against Atlanta. Didn't do well in either of them, even though he actually had good numbers. Decent numbers, as I pointed out on the show, against Atlanta coming into those starts, and he still didn't do well. And against Seattle, he doesn't have good numbers at all. In 45 at-bats, 7 strikeouts to 4 walks isn't very good. Julio Rodriguez is 4 for 5 with a home run off him. Crawford's 2 for 6 with a home run off him. So take from all of that what you will. It looks like even the pitcher, Luis Castillo, is 2 for 2 off him with a double, although Castillo won't be in the lineup here, of course, but whatever. I mean, ESPN, they should give you an option to exclude the pitchers from this because you know they're not going to hit, but still, overall, Williams' numbers against Seattle, not good. 356 opponent batting average, 964 OPS. That is bad. And George Kirby, I mean, we don't know what we're going to get out of Kirby. He's trying to come back from injury. He made his first start of the season last start. It was on the road. He did have a 4-to-1 strikeout walk ratio, which is pretty good, but he got hit pretty hard. He allowed 5 earned runs, although I think he got a little bit unlucky because he gave up 6 hits, 1 walk. That usually doesn't translate into 5 earned runs, so most of the guys that he allowed on base scored. So he didn't pitch well, but he did get a little bit unlucky, and I think we're going to see him start pitching better as time goes on. I mean, he's been a pretty good pitcher in Seattle's lineup, and he's had some games where he's been really, really awful, I'm pretty sure, but for the most part, he's been pretty good for Seattle. I think he's been pretty good at home as well, which is where he is here. That last game was on the road. He only lasted 3 2/3, but they didn't overwork him. They're trying to work his way back into the rotation. Only 72 pitches, so eventually they're going to build him up. I think eventually he's going to return to his form again here. I mean, he's only 27, so we should see Kirby basically return to what he was before. But against Washington, his numbers are actually not very good. In 49 at-bats, he's given up 3 home runs to Bell, Garcia, and Ruiz. So if you want to look for player props, those guys all have pretty good numbers off of him. 286 average, 796 OPS. So his numbers aren't that good, except he does have an 11-0 strikeout walk ratio against him. But Lowe has 9 of the 11 strikeouts against him. Lowe still 6 for 22 off him with a double, which isn't even really that bad. So Kirby really hasn't done that well against Washington. So even though this is a pitcher-friendly park, I actually think the over is maybe a sneaky way to look in this game. Here it is here. It looks like the cash percentage is on the under, 62% of the cash, 62% of tickets on the over, 72% of the cash on the under, but it looks like the total's moved up a little bit from 8 to 8, just the over. I think it could be a sneaky over, but we don't know what we're going to get out of Kirby. I mean, he could be better in this game, so take from all that what you will. That's the rundown for today. Plays one more time that I gave out on the show. Florida Panthers in hockey to close that series out. And in baseball, full game under 8 in Minnesota, Tampa Bay. Pittsburgh Pirates on the money line. Full game. First 5 under Cincinnati, Kansas City. I love the starting pitching matchup in that game. And Anaheim, I know, against the Yankees as a home underdog, pretty sizable home underdog. So I love playing a lot of these baseball underdogs where you think they have the better of the matchup. A lot of times it works out nicely. So that's what we're doing here. If one of those two underdogs hits, it'll be a win overall between those two plays. So that's a good situation to be in if we're betting the same amount on both, or betting to win the same amount on both, I should say. That's going to do it. Tower Game Toad on Twitter. My Give Send Go is still up, at least for one more day. GiveSendGo.com/Tower Game Toad if you want to add to the fundraiser there. Tower Gang will be on tonight, so go check that out. Patreon.com/Tower Gang for the most offensive comedy podcast ever. And Bohemian Grove tickets, man, they're going fast. Go check that out. The tickets, there aren't that many. Have a good one, everybody, and peace out. Thanks for hanging out, guys.